Free Pokecoins, wild roaming legendaries, exclusive shinies. These are just a few things that have been removed from Pokemon Go in the past 8 years. And today I'm going over 9 of the biggest examples that we could find. Starting with
Prepare for trouble.
Jessie and James are some of the most iconic characters of the Pokemon universe, and belong to the infamous Team Rocket, which you can find today in Pokemon Go. But where are Jessie and James? The better question is, where did they go? You see, back in July of 2020 during the Team Go Rocket event, they appeared in-game for the first time ever. You could find them through the Meowth balloon that would float by every few hours, and they also had exclusive Shadow Shinies that you could catch, Ekans and Coughing. After this event, they disappeared for a few months and returned in December 2020 for the Secrets of the Jungle event. Once that event concluded, so did their appearances. They returned once more in 2021 for the same Secrets of the Jungle event and were gone again in October of that year. And they haven't been back since. It's been nearly 3 years since Jessie and James have been back in Pokemon Go. And Shadow Shiny Ekans hasn't been available since, if I'm not mistaken. It makes you think, what are they waiting for? What huge event or major feature release is cooking that they're holding out Jessie and James on? I'm not sure, but if you see Jessie and James in the news, definitely log in and play, because we have no idea when they're coming back or if they'll ever come back. Imagine spending only one single Pokecoin and getting a huge bundle of amazing items. Unthinkable in today's world of Pokemon Go, where everything seems to just be a bad deal. But back during the pandemic, Pokemon Go introduced the One Pokecoin Weekly Bundle. Every week in the shop, a special box would be made available featuring all sorts of amazing items like raid passes, ultra and great balls, golden raspberries, all wrapped up in a nice little One Pokecoin bundle. This made sense at the time since most people were experiencing both financial issues and the inability to literally go outside. So for Pokemon Go to offer up super helpful items for only like 1 Pokecoin was massively clutch. And it kept a lot of players at the time from quitting. Although once the pandemic ended, so did these relief boxes. Granted, we do get a daily free box now, which is nice, but it will never stack up to the One Pokecoin bundle box. Elite raids have come and gone from Pokemon Go, and right now they seem to be a permanent feature moving forward, which makes sense because they're a way for Pokemon Go to release super exclusive legendary and mythical Pokemon without releasing too many of them out into the wild. Basically still keeping these rare Pokemon rare. But although this feature seems to be here to stay, key aspects of it are not. Honestly, the best aspects. When Elite Raids were first released, they were exciting for a few reasons. One, obviously being the exclusive raid boss featured in them, but the other reason was a secret feature that caught players by surprise. After defeating an elite raid, special spawns would pop up around the gym for 15 minutes. One of the spawns potentially being wild legendary birds. Yes, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres would spawn in the wild around the gyms, which I got lucky enough to find. And the best part? They could be shiny, which some lucky players did find. This was easily the best part about this brand new feature and got most people up and out to raid. But when the second Elite Raid boss came around, the spawns changed. Here's a list of the potential wild Pokemon from Wave 1 of the Elite Raids, and here's the list for Wave 2. The spawns were much less exciting and the legendary birds were removed. And during the third wave, which featured Regidrago and Regieleki, the bonus spawns were removed altogether. You defeat the raid, and that's all that would happen. Nothing bonus, nothing extra. And it seems like the same thing might be true for the upcoming Mega Rayquaza Elite Raids. This feature might just be a shell of its former self from now on. Speaking of legendaries, 2 brand new ones were accidentally released. A player in December of 2023 was just casually going about their day, playing some Go Battle League, when all of a sudden they found the single rarest thing in the entire game. After collecting their win rewards, they were surprised by an encounter with White Kyurem. At the same time, more players from around the world began to report similar encounters with not only White Kyurem, but Black Kyurem as well. The entire community began to catch wind of this and got super excited. Who wouldn't be excited about a brand new legendary secretly released? Especially in the Go Battle League, which never really happens. Well, that surprise bubble was popped by a tweet by Niantic which read, "Trainers Black Kyurem and White Kyurem appeared as a Go Battle League encounter reward due to a misconfiguration and will be removed. We will be reaching out to trainers who were recently affected by this and provide in-game compensation as a token of our apology." Yes, they actually went into players' accounts and removed these legendaries from them. And some of these players threw thousands and thousands of Stardust and tons of rare candies into these Pokemon to power them up because they were the only ones in the world to have them, I would have done the same. And the people who did this were not fully refunded for their Stardust or their candies, which extra sucked. And it's safe to say the community did not like how this was handled by Niantic, and it goes down as one of the craziest examples of accidental releases. Community Day is one of the biggest reoccurring monthly events in the entire game. Millions of people log on and play using millions of balls to catch the featured Pokemon. And did you know that Pokemon GO used to help with this? Back in 2022, Pokemon GO introduced a new feature that helped tons of players. Every Community Day, there would be a free box in the shop featuring 30 Ultra Balls. Since most people encountered only a handful of shinies on average during Community Day, these balls were used for them. Players loved it, life was good. Then all of a sudden in September of 2022, Niantic quietly removed the box. And it never came back. Players at the time were super frustrated about this because there was no announcement at all about it happening. And a lot of people at the time kind of began to rely on this little care package of balls. But nothing was ever said and the box never returned. Gyms in Pokemon GO have always been a super unpopular feature, mainly because there's not many things to do with them that are fun or engaging, and the rewards kind of suck. But that wasn't always the case. Back in the OG days of the game, Pokecoins wasn't the only thing you can get from defending gyms. And speaking of Pokecoins, you could get a lot more of them back then. In the original gym system, players could get 10 Pokecoins and 500 Stardust per day per Pokemon that was defending the gym, which means every day players could earn 100 Pokecoins and 5,000 Stardust, which was amazing. But after a while, the gyms were reworked and these incredible bonuses were massively reduced. Now, you don't get any Stardust for defending a gym, and you can only get 50 coins per day. Did you know that trading didn't always require you to stand next to the person you were trading with? For a limited time in 2021 during the COVID pandemic, the trade distance was expanded. Now, this is something that's been requested since the trading feature was released way back in 2018. So many players have friends on their friends list that they will never meet in person, or they only see maybe like once a year, if that. So being able to trade with them regardless of where you two are in the world would be a huge advantage. And that was possible. Sorta. In 2021, during the Christmas season, Pokemon GO expanded the trade distance to 40 kilometers. And with the normal distance being only 100 meters, this was huge. You couldn't trade with somebody across the world, but you could trade with somebody across your city. And that difference made a huge difference. Players had access to this brand new feature for a pretty short amount of time, talking about like 1 to 2 months. Then it was gone. Trade distance went back to normal, and from what I remember, Niantic had said that this feature would come back during key events in the future, but it never did. More recent changes have removed some of the most fundamental features from the game for both top players and casuals alike, like sit over here. Okay, one of the major features being AR quick catching. There are some insane world records that have been set for the most amount of Pokemon caught in 1 hour, 1 day, etc. And they were all set using one key strategy, AR quick catching. This is basically when you go into AR plus mode and encounter Pokemon that way, which saves about 1 to 3 seconds every encounter. But when you're tapping on thousands of Pokemon, this really makes a difference. Well, in early 2024, with the new, I think, Rediscover Pokemon GO update, the AR plus system and AR system got a huge rework. And honestly, a lot of improvements. But something that players didn't expect that was definitely not an improvement was the removal of the key strategy of AR quick catching. For whatever reason, with the new AR Plus update, you can no longer do this. And now I personally used this strategy to set GoFest shiny records last year in New York, and it's been one of my main strategies when really grinding and shiny hunting hard at major events. And it's gone now, silently removed from the game with no word on if it will ever come back. And that's not the only thing that happened recently. We all know this one because it impacted how we literally look in game. But early 2024 saw the release of a brand new avatar update that completely changed how players looked in game. For the worst, and I mean the absolute worst. This is the worst aesthetic update Pokemon GO has ever gotten in 8 years. It is shocking how bad this is. And unfortunately, the old system was completely removed. The human-looking, sleek, cute avatars were traded out for alien-looking Slendermans. And it doesn't look like the old system is ever coming back because they seem to be doubling down on the new one, which is a shame. And I'm obviously still very salty about this, and so are a bunch of other players. But at least the entire game wasn't removed. Imagine waking up one day, logging onto Pokemon GO, and the whole game's gone. Well, that happened several times in history to several different countries. In 2022, Pokemon GO was just kind of quietly removed from the Vietnamese app stores. When players asked why, Niantic responded, "Sorry for the inconvenience, trainer. We're aware of the issues where Pokemon GO app is unavailable for download in Google Play Store Vietnam and are working on a fix. Please stay tuned to our official channels for update. Thank you for your patience." But there were no updates, no reason, rhyme, or anything as to why Vietnam lost Pokemon GO, and to this day, still has. And it's this wasn't the only time that happened. In 2023, during the Russia-Ukraine war, Niantic removed the game completely from both Russia and Belarus, stating, "We stand with the global community in hoping for peace and a rapid resolution to the violence and suffering in Ukraine." And the game has since not returned to either country. And those are just a few things that were removed from Pokemon Go. Plenty more have happened and plenty more will happen. And to learn about those, make sure you're subscribed and check out these other videos on screen. Thank you for watching.